I welcomed my struggling brother into my home to mend our broken bond, only to have my life shattered when I found him in bed with my girlfriend. I'm Jake, 29, a civil engineer living in a modest 2-bedroom apartment in Denver, where I spend my days designing bridges and my nights unwinding with a beer and a good book. My girlfriend Emma, 27, is a pediatric nurse whose infectious laugh can brighten the gloomiest day, though her habit of leaving coffee mugs on every surface drives me up the wall. We'd been together for 3 years, building a life woven from late-night takeout runs, weekend hikes through the Rockies, and quiet conversations about a future-together marriage, a house, maybe a kid or two. We weren't perfect. Grueling hospital shifts often left her drained, and I'd get lost in work deadlines, leading to spats over unwashed dishes or forgotten plans. But we always found our way back to each other, our trust, a steady anchor. I believed we were unbreakable, the kind of couple that could face any storm and come out stronger. My older brother, Noah, 32, is a different story, a charismatic wanderer with a knack for chasing dreams that inevitably crash. He's the guy who could talk his way into anything, but his life is a trail of failed startups, shady side hustles, and broken relationships. Growing up, we were inseparable, sharing late-night video game marathons and sneaking out to explore the neighborhood. But Noah's choices, petty scams, borrowing money he never repaid, drove a wedge between us. By 2025, we hadn't spoken in 2 years, not since he borrowed $500 and vanished without a trace. In January, he showed up at my doorstep, looking like a shadow of himself, gaunt, unshaven, claiming a brutal breakup had left him with nothing. Emma, with her soft heart and belief in second chances, pushed me to let him in. "He's your brother, Jake," she said, her eyes earnest. "Family's worth fighting for." Against my better judgment, I agreed, letting Noah crash in the spare room, hoping to rebuild the bond we'd lost. At first it seemed possible. Noah was contrite, promising to get his life together. He landed a job at a warehouse, unloading trucks, and swore he'd pay me back. For a month, things felt almost good. We'd sit around the kitchen table, sharing beers and laughing over old memories, like the time we got caught sneaking into a concert as kids. Emma played the perfect host, cooking hearty dinners like her famous chili, and Noah pitched in, fixing a squeaky door or helping with dishes. It was like we were a family again, piecing together something broken. Emma and Noah got along well, trading jokes and stories, and I thought it was a sign of healing. But there was a faint unease, subtle shift in the air I couldn't quite name, like a crack in a dam, small at first, but hinting at a flood. I brushed it off, telling myself it was just my old doubts about Noah resurfacing. I wanted to believe in him, in us, in the idea that people could change. Looking back, I see how naive I was, ignoring the quiet warnings my gut tried to send. The signs crept in like fog, faint but impossible to ignore once I started noticing. Emma and Noah's easy laughter would falter when I entered the room, their glances lingering just a heartbeat too long. I told myself it was nothing, paranoia born of Noah's past betrayals. He was my brother, Emma, my anchor. The idea of anything between them felt absurd. But by February, the doubts grew teeth. Emma's phone buzzed at odd hours, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. She'd tilt the screen away, her fingers hesitating before she'd reply. Noah started claiming late shifts at the warehouse, but his jacket, slung over the couch, carried the unmistakable lavender of Emma's perfume. My gut churned. A low warning I tried to silence. I'd lie awake, replaying their interactions, her laugh at his dumb puns, his hand brushing hers when she passed him a plate. Was I imagining it? Noah had burned me before, but Emma? I couldn't believe she'd crossed that line. The truth crashed down on a Tuesday in late February. I'd left a site inspection earlier than planned, the project wrapping ahead of schedule. Emma had the day off, and Noah had texted me about pulling a double shift. I pulled into the apartment complex around 3 p.m., the Denver sky gray and heavy. The place was too quiet, no hum of the TV, no clatter of Emma's usual kitchen experiments. I dropped my keys on the counter, my eyes catching Emma's sneakers by the door, scuffed from our last hike. Noah's coat was there too, draped over a chair, which struck me as odd. He was supposed to be at work. My pulse quickened, a cold prickle crawling up my neck. "Emma," I called, my voice sounding too loud in the stillness. No answer. The air felt thick, like the world was holding its breath. I moved toward our bedroom, my boots heavy on the hardwood. The door was ajar, a sliver of light spilling out. My hand shook as I pushed it open, and the sight stopped me cold. There. Weema and Noah, tangled in our sheets, her head resting on his chest, their bodies too close, too familiar. The image seared into me, a punch to the gut that stole my breath. Emma gasped, yanking the blanket up, her face pale. Noah just stared, his expression blank, almost defiant, like he'd been caught but wasn't surprised. Jake, this isn't Emma stammered, her voice trembling, eyes wide with panic. Don't, I said, my voice colder than I'd ever heard it. Cutting her off, Noah sat up, rubbing his face like he could wipe away the moment. Man, let's talk this out, okay? Talk. I barked, a bitter laugh ripping out of me. You're in my bed with my girlfriend. What the hell's there to say? Emma's eyes brimmed with tears, her hands clutching the sheet. It wasn't planned, Jake. It just happened. I'm so sorry. How long? I demanded, my fists clenched so tight, my nails bit into my palms. Noah looked away, his jaw tight. A few weeks, he admitted, voice low. Wasn't meant to hurt you, Jake. Weeks. The word landed like a blade. Every late-night text, every shared glance, every moment I'd dismissed was all real. The betrayal wasn't a single act. It was a choice they'd made over and over. Rage boiled inside me, but I locked it down, my voice steady. Get out, I said, staring at them both. Both of you. I turned, the room spinning, and slammed the door behind me. Their voices and sobs, Noah's murmurs faded. As I stormed out, in my truck, I sat gripping the wheel. The image of them burned into my mind. I'd let Noah in, opened my home, and they'd turned it into a knife in my back. I couldn't face the apartment that night. The image of Emma and Noah in our bed looped in my head, a sickening reel. I couldn't pause. I drove to my friend Ben's place, my hands shaking on the wheel. He took one look at me, handed me a beer, and let me crash on his couch without asking questions. My phone lit up with Emma's texts. Jake, please, I'm so sorry. Let me explain. And a single message from Noah. I fucked up, bro. Call me. I turned the phone face down, ignoring the buzz. Rage and numbness battled inside me, each moment of their betrayal replaying her head on his chest, his blank stare. Sleep was a lost cause. I stared at the ceiling, my chest tight, wondering how I'd missed the signs. The next morning, I forced myself back to the apartment. Emma was in the living room, curled on the couch, eyes swollen from crying. Noah's room was empty, his duffel bag gone. He'd run, like always. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed, feeling like a stranger in my own home. Emma looked up, her face crumpling. Jake, why? I cut her off, my voice flat, barely masking the storm inside. She twisted her hands, staring at the floor. I don't know. Noah was there. You were always working buried in blueprints. I felt invisible. It wasn't love, Jake. It was a stupid mistake. A mistake. I snapped, the word like acid. You slept with my brother for weeks. That's not a mistake. It's a choice. I hate myself for it, she sobbed, tears streaming. Love you. I'll do anything to fix this. There's no fixing this, I said, my tone cold. Pack your things and get out, she pleaded, her voice breaking, saying it was a moment of weakness, that she still wanted a future with me. Her words felt like static, meaningless against the betrayal. I stood there, unmoving, as she packed a suitcase, her sobs echoing through the apartment. When she left, dragging the bag behind her, the silence was deafening. The space felt too big, too empty, like it belonged to someone else. I tracked Noah down 2 days later at a dive bar, hunched over a whiskey, looking as rough as I felt. I'm sorry, Jake, he said before I could speak, his voice low. I'm a screw-up. Always have been. You didn't just screw up, I said, keeping my voice steady. You betrayed me, my own brother in my own bed. He winced, staring into his glass. It wasn't planned. She was lonely, and I took advantage. I'll leave town if that's what you want. Stay away from me, I said. My word's final. We're done. I walked out, fighting the urge to smash the glass in his hand, to make him feel a fraction of my pain. Back home, I changed the locks, threw out the bedding, and scrubbed every surface, trying to erase their presence. The apartment still felt tainted, every corner holding a memory I wanted gone. Work became my lifeline, long hours on engineering, projects poring over designs to drown out the hurt. Friends like Ben called, offering support, but I kept them at arm's length. Trust felt like a trap now, a door I'd left open too long. I replayed every moment, questioning myself. I've been too distant, too focused on work, Had I ignored Emma's needs? The worst was wondering why I'd let Noah back in, knowing his history. I felt like a fool, and that shame burned hotter than their betrayal. I swore to move forward, alone, rebuilding on my own terms, determined to never be blindsided again. Emma's departure left a hollow ache, like a room stripped bare. Word of the betrayal spread quickly through our circle in Denver. Friends texted, some offering support, others fishing for details. Ben and his partner Claire were my lifeline showing. Up with takeout or dragging me to a brewery when I sank too deep into silence. They didn't pry, just sat with me, their presence a quiet anchor. Others weren't as subtle. A coworker, Rachel, messaged, "Heard about Emma? You holding up?" I left it unanswered. Pity felt like a spotlight on my failure, each condolence. A reminder I'd been blind. Emma didn't let go easily. Her calls came daily at first, voicemails thick with tears. "Jake, I know I don't deserve it, but please, let me explain." A week later, a letter arrived, her handwriting shaky. "I regret everything. I'm broken without you, but I understand if you hate me." I tore it to pieces, the words too little too late. Her brother Tom caught me at a coffee shop. His face earnest. "She's a wreck, Jake," he said. "Not eating, barely sleeping. She knows she fucked up." I stared at him, my jaw tight. "She made her bed," I said, brushing past. He didn't push, but his words lingered, a faint tug at my resolve that I shoved away. Noah predictably vanished. A mutual friend mentioned he'd bolted to Portland. Chasing some new job, probably another doomed venture. My parents found out when Mom called to check in, sensing something off in my voice. I told them everything, my tone flat to keep from breaking. Mom sobbed, "How could Noah do this to you?" Dad, usually stoic, called him a selfish bastard, but added, "He's still your brother, Jake. Don't close that door forever," I snapped. "He's not my brother anymore." They backed off, their grief a heavy weight I didn't want to. Carrie, I asked them not to contact him. Couldn't handle their hope for reconciliation. The nights were the worst. I'd lie awake. The image of Emma and Noah in our bed replaying like a bad film. I'd see her head on his chest, his blank. Stare and feel the knife twist again. Work kept me afloat, burying myself in bridge designs and calculations, dulled the edge of the pain. My boss noticed my output, giving me a pat on the back and extra projects, but the praise felt empty. Social media was a trap. I blocked Emma and unfollowed mutual friends to avoid seeing her life move on. A photo of her at a friend's party slipped through once, her smile forced. It stung, but I swiped it away. Dating was unthinkable. Trust felt like a broken machine, gears stripped bare. Ben tried once, mentioning a coworker who'd asked about me. "Not happening," I said, sharper. Then intended. He nodded, letting it go. The betrayal wasn't just Emma and Noah's, it was mine, for missing the signs, for letting Noah back into my life. I'd ignored the red flags, their shared glances, her late-night texts. The shame of being played in my own home burned deeper than their actions. I leaned hard into routine work, gym, sleep to keep from unraveling. Friends like Ben and Claire were proof not everyone would stab me in the back, but I kept even them at a distance, wary of letting anyone too close. The world felt sharper now, every interaction tinged with caution. I wasn't the same Jake, and I didn't know if I ever would be again. Their betrayal had rewritten me, and I was still learning who I'd become by summer. The raw pain had dulled, like a wound scabbed over but still tender. I moved to a new one-bedroom apartment in Denver, its clean walls and city view a fresh slate. I furnished it minimally: bed, couch, desk enough to call it home. Running trails in the Rockies became my escape, each step pounding out the lingering anger. I wasn't healed, but I was surviving, piecing myself back together. In September, I saw Emma at a grocery store. She looked worn, her eyes shadowed. "Jake, can we talk?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. "No," I said, pushing my cart past. "It's over." She didn't follow, and I didn't look back. The encounter felt like closing a heavy door, final and freeing. Noah emailed in October, a long apology about rehab and a new job in Portland. "I know I don't deserve it, but I hope someday you'll forgive me." I deleted it without replying. He was my brother once, but that bond was broken, maybe forever. Forgiveness felt like a bridge too far, at least for now. I started therapy, skeptical, but desperate to stop circling the same thoughts. The sessions were slow, peeling back layers of guilt and betrayal. My therapist asked what I wanted, and I said, to trust my instincts again. I'd ignored the warning signs, Emma's late-night texts, Noah's lingering glances in. That failure haunted me. Rebuilding self-trust became my goal, one small step at a time. I'm not there yet. Some nights, the memory of them in my bed creeps back, a sharp sting of what was lost. But I'm stronger now. I hike again, finding peace in the mountain's quiet vastness. Ben and Claire remain my anchors, their loyalty a reminder that not everyone betrays. I've started opening up, sharing bits of myself with them over beers, testing the waters of connection. Dating still feels impossible, but I'm not ruling it out forever. Just not today. Work is steady. My engineering projects, a reliable constant. I earned a promotion, though the thrill is muted. I'm living for myself now, not the future I'd planned with Emma. The betrayal was a brutal teacher. Trust is fragile, earned through actions, not assumed. I won't be blindsided again, not by ignoring my gut or opening my door to isolate. I'm learning who I am without them, and it's enough for now. Half a year later, the sting of Emma and Noah's betrayal lingers, but it's no longer a blade. It's a dull ache. I've settled into my new Denver apartment, a one-bedroom with a view of the skyline that feels like mine. Running trails in the Rockies has become my ritual, each stride a way to outrun the past. I'm not whole, but I'm steady, building a life on my terms. In October, I ran into Emma at a bookstore. She looked fragile, eyes heavy with exhaustion. "Jake, can we talk?" she asked, voice soft. "No," I replied, brushing past. "We're done." She didn't chase me, and I didn't glance back. It was closure, a lock clicking shut. Noah sent an email in November, a rambling apology about sobriety and a new job. I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope we can reconnect someday. I deleted it. He was my brother, but that tie is severed, maybe permanently. Forgiveness might come, but not yet. Therapy has been a slow grind, forcing me to face the guilt of missing the signs. My therapist asked what I want, and I said to trust my gut again. I'd ignored the red flag Emma's secretive texts, Noah's lingering presence hand. That's what cuts deepest. I'm working to rebuild that inner compass, to listen when it warns me. Some days, their betrayal resurfaces, a shadow across my thoughts, but I'm stronger. Hiking grounds me, the mountains, a quiet refuge. Ben and Claire, my steadfast friends, keep me tethered with their loyalty. I've started opening up, sharing stories over coffee, testing trust in small doses. Dating feels like a distant goal, but I'm not closed off forever, just cautious. My engineering work anchors me, with a recent promotion that feels like a small win. I'm living for myself, not the life I envisioned with Emma. Their betrayal taught me trust is earned, not given, and I won't ignore my instincts again. I'm not the Jake I was, but I'm finding who I am now, and that's enough.